violations of professional ethics by county employees, specifically Section 14.4C of the Ethics Code regarding the conduct of employees, stating that all persons shall be treated in a courteous, fair, and impartial manner.
Thank you, Chair. Do we have any public testifiers before we hear from our petitioner? I don't see any in Hilo. Again, verifying Kona. Chair David, no public testifiers. Is that correct, ma'am?
No testifiers. Mahalo.
Thank you. And no other public testifiers via Zoom. Please speak up now. Seeing none. Go ahead, Chair.
Mr. Christie, you will have, does the same limit of 3 minutes apply to the appointment? You have additional materials for us, Mr. Christie? Thank you. Thank you. I just have a couple of things to say before Mr. Christie begins. The board has received Mr. Christie's petition and the extensive materials in support of that petition. We have had 2 meetings, I believe, without a quorum, so we canceled the meetings, and so your petition runs back quite some time. I personally have gone through all the materials that you have provided. I believe that the other members have as well. It is a extensive packet of materials, but I would like you to, if you can, focus your remarks to the violation of the code that you are alleging that has been made by 14 members of the either employees or elected officials of the County of Hawaii, namely that they have violated the section that all persons should be treated in a courteous, fair, and impartial manner. That is the matter that this ethics board is looking at, and so that's the germane information. So if you can go ahead, and you have up to 5 minutes.
Thank you very much. And thanks for the clarification. I appreciate that, and I do understand. I'm Roger Christie. It's my pleasure to be here. Good morning and aloha to everyone. I'm grateful for our system of government, which has checks and balances, and a civilian board of ethics, which all rides on the consent of the governed, we the people. I participate occasionally as a concerned citizen, and I admit my weaknesses as a communicator who's always practicing to do better. That said, I have tried and apparently failed to be a Paul Revere to alert the county government to impending danger, destruction, and death with the COVID emergency, a long, detailed, and very devious plan, in my opinion. The plan is so evil and so large that it remains unseen by most people who can't imagine even the possibility of it existing. Our elected and appointed officials are super busy, and I appreciate their service in so many areas. I certainly grant them the space to be wrong on matters large and small, as I want forgiveness for myself for being wrong in life, but I can't allow them to ignore the fundamental precautionary principle, the scientific method, and opposing points of view on a matter of literally grave concern. Hence my attempts at meetings, recognized communications, and public hearings. The metaphor for my life in our cannabis ministry has been Turnaround Junction. I gave you a graphic of that today, much like a real-life example of the one-car train that used to come down the Hamakua and right outside our windows in the Moses building on the Hilo side of the Singing Bridge back in the day. One man could literally turn that train around and go back up the Hamakua. I do my best to be a person who stands up and speaks up for things that are wrong in our community and in my life. Shakespeare has written, "Confusion hath made his masterpiece," and I would say that the pandemic of COVID is the epic of the epitome of confusion. In the past, I have written to, this is Mayor Dante Carpenter in 1988, and submitted information, which I've done since I got here in 1986. I have a letter from former Mayor Dante Carpenter. "Dear Mr. Christie, thank you for the information you sent to the mayor about the medical uses of marijuana. He found the articles interesting and informative." That was a great reply. "Appreciated the courtesy and professionalism." And same thing from the county council in 1988. "Dear Mr. Christie, this to acknowledge receipt of the information you sent to the Hawaii County Council regarding medical uses of marijuana. Your communication has been referred to our Committee on Economic Development for its review and recommendation. Thank you for expressing your views on this subject." That's how it used to roll, and I was very happy that the county government moved in such a way. Back in those days, it was very contentious for me to bring such information forward when prohibition of marijuana was the rule of the day. Kind of like today, it's the one way or the highway, take the vaccine, and there's no other point of view to be allowed on the agenda. Concerning, excuse me, concerning the mayor, Mitch Roth, who I have appreciation for his service and have had a friendship with him and respect for his position in the community. I did call his office early in COVID, and his secretary said that the mayor would not take, would not take a meeting with me through a telephone call, but I had to go online. It was a new formula. So I went online and submitted my request to have a meeting with the mayor. I never heard back. I did, at that point, resort to emails to the mayor's office, and I did CC other people as well, looking for a reply, a response, something to be heard, and nothing came back. The mayor has given some evidence. He thinks that I never asked him for such a meeting, but that's not true, and the records in the mayor's office. Pardon me?
30 seconds.
Oh my. I think you ought to hear this as part of the.
Roger, this is Mitch Roth. I just got this complaint, and I just checked my records. I don't see a single time that you've asked to set up a meeting with me, and I've asked my secretary, Tammy, and she hasn't seen anything. You mentioned a lot of these emails and stuff. If you have any of the ones to the work address, because I'm way back on my private stuff, I don't have that much time to answer them. Can you send me one of those? I would greatly appreciate to see where you're asking for a meeting with me. Not that I would have given you one, but I'd like to see that email that you're referring to. Thank you.
So that's Mitch Roth replying to my request. I'd like to address the other people that are defendants, but if I'm out of time, then that's to be continued. I certainly have evidence to submit, and I would appreciate you extending my time here at the microphone. If not, then actually I would like a continuance of this meeting.
Mr. Christie, would a couple more minutes be sufficient for you?
I think so. Let's give it a try. Thank you very much. So that was the mayor, and you heard his voice. As to Douglas Adams, I like Douglas. I did get a reply from 5 of the people that I complained about. Douglas is a West Point grad, an athlete, an all-around good guy. No response to my emails to his office. I thought I would hear from him. Cyrus Jonathan, Director of Communications at the county, also has a reputation as a very good guy. I've met him one time, seemed to be nice enough. I asked him for a personal meeting probably a year ago, and that never came to fruition, unfortunately. Understandably, he's a busy guy, but I thought that my request would be understood. as far as Police Chief, former Chief Ferreira, I did call Lynn at the police chief's office twice. I don't have her here as a witness, but she was very courteous and professional on the phone. I asked for a meeting with Chief Ferreira about a year ago. That was not forthcoming. I called last week again, a week in advance of this hearing, to see if I could have a meeting with Acting Chief Bugato. I never got a reply back. I have a copy of the agenda of the Public Safety Committee for the county, and what's so tragic is that there's almost nothing on their agenda every time they meet. And I've looked up on the website for the county as to how many minutes the Parks and Recreation and Public Safety Committees meet. And to my surprise, there was a counter to, I guess, from the gavel at the beginning of the meetings to the gavel at the end. And so I'm just going to read a couple of, this is off the county's website. Parks and Rec and Public Safety met, and for 9 minutes one time, 11 minutes another time, 7 minutes another meeting, 19 minutes another meeting, 49 minutes another meeting, 17 minutes another, 9 minutes total another, 13 minutes another time, 11 minutes another time, 47 minutes another time, 1 hour and 22 minutes, 12 minutes, 16 minutes, 18 minutes, 9 minutes, 30 minutes, 58 minutes, 3 hours, 13 minutes, one meeting, 22 minutes another, 1 hour, 55 minutes another meeting, and 9 minutes another meeting. Now this is during the biggest emergency of our lives, and to me that shows malfeasance, and because they wouldn't even accept my letters as official communications, my emails, and my request to go on the agenda, and they didn't seem to think that it was important enough to speak about COVID or having hearings. And as I say, maybe it's my error in communications. If so, I look forward to being a better communicator. I did put out a call to every county councilman last week, got their voicemail or their secretary, and I said, this is about a week before our Board of Ethics hearing, and to reduce any stress or tension on you, I mean, it's not a personal thing, this is a very professional complaint that I have, I give you another opportunity to meet with me. And as Councilman Richards said, hey, I meet with my constituents whenever they ask me. So I thought, hey, thank you, Mr. Richards. I'll call you again. And no answer a week later. Now, to their credit, Holeka Inaba did call me back last week, and we had a conversation for about 20 minutes. And to her credit, Heather Kimball called me. It was Monday morning. We had a half-hour call, very respectful, courteous, and productive. I mean, she's a former scientist, apparently has skill in training in genetics. She was, unfortunately, she and Holeka as well, were not conscious of the content of my petition. When I mentioned, do you understand what deletion syndrome is, which is the #1 adverse event Pfizer tried to hide for 75 years. And they both said they didn't know what it was and didn't know what I was talking about. I referred to them that it was on the petition. It's a very dangerous, damaging thing you do not want, and you do not want your constituents to have as an adverse event. They both were unaware of it. They didn't know who Klaus Schwab was. It was really surprising to me and challenging for their constituents going forward. But to her credit, Heather Kimball said that, I asked her, how could I be a better communicator with the council? And she told me a couple steps to take so I can be a better communicator. And she said she would be willing, as the incoming chairwoman of the council, to hold a hearing on deletion syndrome, for instance, and the potential damage and harm that it could do to people of Hawaii County. So that was very satisfying. Let's see, what else? I think that just about wraps it up here. The end of my petition, thank you for extending me the courtesy. I'm just going to read my last paragraph. I prefer that the named defendants would wake up to the gravity of the situation at hand and continue in office with a new, more responsible frame of mind. However, if that isn't possible, then I ask for their removal from office as the public trust and confidence in the integrity of Hawaii County government is broken. Enormous unexamined damage, and sadly, it's unexamined. I mean, come on, we should be having hearings about this even, often. Has already been done with very troubling policies, and much worse harm might come if they are allowed to remain in office under the present circumstances. We can only be the land of the free if we are first the home of the brave. So, Board of Ethics, please be brave. And I thank you so much for your service.
Thank you, Mr. Christie. Before you leave, are there any members of the board that have questions for Mr. Christie?
I don't have any.
Denise?
Genius.
I guess,
Oh, yes.
sorry, I guess my only comment would be, we're only limited to a certain very narrow set of circumstances, and that would be whether or not you were treated fairly, based on your complaint. So the effects of the deletion syndrome and those others, kind of are not part of what we respond to.
Of
I
course, yeah.
understand that.
Cop out. Mm-hmm.
And my point was that I was not treated fairly in giving the courtesy that I've always been given by the county and acknowledging my communications, putting things on the agenda. That's the violation. And thank you for clarifying that.
Thank you very much.
No, sorry, thank you. And
Thank you.
Chair, for the record, we have this board